Alright. What's going on, guys? My name is Jessica and welcome back to my channel. Sorry, I saw the goat in the background and I was like, it was in my house. Okay, so I have something I want to talk about. Not my favorite thing in the world. So I've been talking in my past two videos just about seasons I'm in, things that I'm going through, and the particular season I'm in right now, I'm just gonna be real with you, is really hard. While I've been studying for this mission trip that I'm going on this summer, even just studying alone for it is just really humbling me, and God is doing such a work in my heart, and it's just kind of like turning me off to our type of Christianity. And I know that sounds weird, but it's like, I feel like in our society, or the things that I see on Instagram and all that, like I see so much blessing, but no obedience. At least not like visually, but it's like you don't hear as often about like what it took in order for somebody to receive the blessing that they're getting. You know, you see a lot of like nice outfits and just beautiful lives and things that are just saying like, I'm so blessed and this and that, and I'm just kind of like, well, that's cool, but like, where was the struggle in there? And the reason I bring this up is because right now, God has me in this season of obedience. I mean, straight up, God has asked me to lay down my job, people that I really care for, just these things in my life that he's like, I know you really like this thing and this thing makes you very happy and comfortable, but guess what? I need you to give it to me right now. What? You know? It's easier to lay down something that you know is bad for you. Like, it's something like, maybe somebody that wants to quit smoking. Now, granted, that is like, that is not necessarily a healthy habit. But in the back of their mind, they can also use the argument like, yeah, but I know it's not good for me. Well, what about when there's something in your life that actually makes you happy and that is like kind of good for you? It makes you smile, you have a good time, and you sit there and you're like, God, like, why are you asking me to give this thing up? Like, I do not understand. Why are you asking to take me from a place of comfort and somewhat joy to being insanely uncomfortable? It's really, really tough. It just got me thinking about the story of Abraham and Isaac. So let me read this to you real quick. This is in Genesis 22. Sometime later, God tested Abraham. He said to him, Abraham. Here I am, he replied. Then God said, take your son, your only son, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sorry if I botched these names. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain. I will show you. Now, as you can imagine, that might be like really hard. Abraham's like, but wait, that's my only son, and I love him. How could you be asking me to do that? You know, that's tough. Like, he might be going through all these thoughts in his head. On the third day, Abraham looked up and saw the place in the distance. He said to his servants, stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship and then we will come back to you. Abraham took the wood in the burnt offering and placed it on his son Isaac, and he himself carried the fire and the knife. As the two went on together, Isaac spoke up and said to his father, Father? Yes, my son, Abraham replied. The fire and wood are here, Isaac said, but where is the lamb for the burnt offering? Abraham answered, God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son, and the two of them went on together. And then this is where things get really interesting. When they reached the place God had told him about, Abraham built an altar there and arranged the wood on it. He bound his son Isaac and laid him on the altar, on top of the wood. Then he reached out his hand and took the knife to slay his son. But the angel of the Lord called out to him from heaven, Abraham, Abraham, here I am. He replied, do not lay a hand on the boy, he said. Do not do anything to him. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld from me your son, your only son. And later on, God says, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. Your descendants will take possession of the cities of their enemies, and through your offspring, all nations on earth will be blessed because you have obeyed me. So that makes me feel a lot better about the fact that, like, when God calls us to be obedient, that that we need to do so. But it also gets me thinking about, like, do you remember the times where, like, you knew that there was something that, like, God had on your heart and he was calling you to do or to not do, and you ignored it? Like, I certainly have. Like, I know what it feels like for when I ignored the things that God was calling me to. And there were definitely repercussions. Like, I feel like the blessing definitely got delayed. I'm reading this book right now called Crazy Love by Francis Chan. It's so good. Rocking my world. But this really stood out to me, especially in this season that I'm in right now. It says, how many of us would really leave our families, our jobs, our education, our friends, our connections, our familiar surroundings, and our homes if Jesus asked us to? If he just showed up and said, follow me. No explanation, no directions. You could follow him straight up a hill to be crucified. Maybe he would lead you to another country and you would never see your family again. Or perhaps you would stay put, but he would ask you to spend your time helping people who will never love you back and never show gratitude for what you gave up. Consider this carefully. Have you ever done so? Or was your decision to follow Christ flippant, based solely on feelings and emotion, made without counting the cost? God doesn't take away the things that we want, or the things that are in our lives, like to punish us or to make us unhappy. What it comes down to is that all God wants from us is for us just to be surrendered. That's it. And the things that he takes away, he's either going to replace with something better, or he's going to give it back to us, but it might look differently than it did before. But it's definitely hard to remember that all the time, because like in the short term, it hurts and you were like, why, God? Why do you want this thing? But the truth is, it's not the thing that he wants, it's your heart that he wants. It's not about the thing. It's not about making you unhappy. It's about having you. He doesn't need us, yet he still wants us. It's pretty cool. But if you're in a season right now, similar to myself, where you feel like you don't have answers, yet God is like calling you to surrender it, like the answer is to surrender it. The answer is to be obedient to it. Even if it doesn't make sense right now. Like, could you imagine what it must have felt like for Abraham? Like, yes, he was faithful and ended up bringing his son up to the top of the mountain, but like, I can only imagine that he must have been like terrified. He's like, I'm being asked to kill my son. Like, that is ridiculous. This is my only son, my only choice, like my only hope of being able to reproduce, my only way of passing on my legacy, and God is asking me to give that up right now. But what Abraham realized upon getting to the top and about to do it, about to kill his son, is that God was like, stop. You were faithful to me. You were faithful, and that you would have gone through with that. But because you listened, and because all I wanted was to see that you were surrendered to me, like, I will bless you for that. Sometimes I feel like I hold myself back from giving everything to God, because I think subconsciously sometimes we believe that God's blessing has a limit. But truthfully, there is no limit to the blessings he can give us, because he's God. It's like, we are sitting here trying to comprehend like an infinite God with our like tiny minds. It's like, here's the ocean, we have a cup and we're scooping it. This is like our view. Like, this is how much we understand of what's infinite, of all the infinite blessings he can bring us. But yet we sit here and compare our little cup to all the things that he is able to do. It's hard though. It's hard though at first, which is why when we're in a season like this, that we need just to be steadfast in our prayer. We need to be in the word all the time, because otherwise you're definitely going to get in your own head and you're going to start getting confused. But you need to be believing that like God is who he says he is, and that he is going to come through in one way or another. But we also can't sit there and think that the blessing is going to look like what we thought it was going to look like. Like right here, how I just said, you could follow him straight up a hill to be crucified. Maybe he would lead you to another country and you would never see your family again. But like in all of that, that sounds terrible. But in all of that, like there was probably going to be a huge heart change. And that could be the reward. We tend to have this society that imagines like that blessing is going to show up as like money or things. But the truth is, like, we already have the reward, and that's God. Like, God himself is the reward. We don't need more things, we need more Jesus. And that alone is rewarding. So I'm just gonna ask you, like, what is it that God is asking you to give up? Is it that thing that you really love? That thing that you really enjoy having around, the thing that makes you really comfortable, but you feel it tugging on you, and God is saying, hey, I know you like this thing, but I need you to lay it down right now so that way I can do a work in you. Just like this book says, are you willing to say to God that he can have whatever he wants? Do you believe that wholehearted commitment to him is more important than any other thing or person in your life? Dang it! And none of this is to sit here and condemn us and to make us feel bad, but it's like the truth is, it's like, what are we willing to do to follow God? And what are we willing to do in order to seek after him? If you feel like you are in a season where he's asking you to be obedient, you need to be obedient, because although that thing that you're holding on to feels so good right now, what God has in store is so much better. It's so much better. And perhaps he will give back to you the thing that you are holding on to right now, but he will bring it back to you and just give you immeasurably more of it than you could have ever imagined. Or maybe you'll never get it back. But God has another plan for that too. Okay, but that is kind of my rant. Obedience is hard, man. It is hard. It is hard at first, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it. We just gotta keep saying yes to what he has for us, and we gonna do it. Okay, well, I'm gonna head out. I have to go sit on my hammock. Very urgent matter, I know. But I'm actually probably gonna go read more of this book because it's awesome. But yeah. Please comment anything that you're thinking. Once again, please feel like you're able to reach out to me, and that if you need some advice, if you, whatever. I don't have all the answers. I am on this journey too, but I love to talk to you guys. I love to get to know you. And if you have any video suggestions as well. So have a lovely weekend, or whenever I post this. Don't forget to like this page. My name is Jessica Cooper, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Bye-bye.